Some men enter the world with rebellion stitched into their marrow, not chosen, not learned, inherited like a scar from a battle never fought. Their origins are irrelevant. Their function is not. Part 1. Context. Every system carries momentum. Families, governments, religions. Momentum becomes habit. Habit becomes doctrine. Doctrine becomes rot. Anything that refuses to adapt eventually collapses under its own predictability. When a process ossifies, nature does not negotiate. It creates an anomaly. That anomaly is the black sheep, not a failure, not a deviant, not the shame of the lineage. A reset event. Forged where pressure is highest, the black sheep emerges as friction incarnate. He does not harmonize. He interferes. Families locked into stagnant roles produce one who refuses the script. Institutions breed their bad apples. Faiths generate their firebrands. Empires birth reformers they later try to erase. They come out blunt instead of reverent, sharp instead of obedient, solitary instead of socially groomed, crowned or crucified. The outcome is secondary. The function is confrontation. They drag buried assumptions into the light and demand accounting. The black sheep carries instincts that clash with inherited beliefs. He is the reminder that pedigree is not destiny and tradition is not authority. This is not rebellion for its own sake. Part 2. Definition. The black sheep is pressure with purpose. In evolutionary terms, he prevents collapse into sameness. In psychological terms, he is individuation with teeth. In mythic terms, he is the birth of the wanderer. His solitude is not exile. It is positioning. He stands outside the system not because he was cast out, but because the vantage point is better there. But this is where the path splits. An unintegrated black sheep rots. He becomes defined by rejection alone. I am not like them becomes his entire identity. That is not evolution. That is stagnation in exile. Integration is what transforms the black sheep into the antihero. The antihero does not reject his lineage out of hatred. He rejects it because he sees its cracks. He smells rot where others burn incense. He notices blind spots passed down like heirlooms. He feels the weight of obligations he never consented to and refuses to let them chain him to a life built from other people's fears. The phrases, "it is what it is," and "this is how it's always been done," are poison to him. The antihero is the death knell of stagnation. He ends cycles that have outlived their usefulness. He bears the weight of severing patterns no one else has the stomach to confront. Patterns of weakness, patterns of hypocrisy, patterns of spiritual inbreeding. He kills what would have killed them all quietly in the end. He simply shortens the timeline, not out of malice, out of clarity. He breaks the old code to birth a truer one. When a lineage clings to tradition instead of truth, the antihero cuts the attachment so something sharper can rise. The story ends in him not as failure, but as seal, a closure a line drawn through what no longer deserves continuation. The black sheep was never an ending. He was a correction, and the antihero is not betrayal. He is fulfillment. Part 3. Integration and transformation. The black sheep is not misunderstood. That's a romantic lie people tell to make dysfunction feel meaningful. The black sheep is misaligned. He does not fail because he is weak. He fails because the system he is placed in cannot metabolize him. Where heroes conform to opposition and villains impose it, the black sheep refuses the premise entirely. He does not ask, "What should I fight?" He asks, "Why should I play?" That refusal is not virtue. It is not rebellion for its own sake. It is a pressure anomaly. The black sheep rejects inherited narratives, family scripts, moral scripts, social scripts. He feels the falseness early, like a bone set wrong in childhood. And once you feel it, you can't unfeel it. This is where people get it wrong. The black sheep is not automatically noble. He can become a force of weal or woe, depending on one thing only: integration. Unintegrated black sheep rot. They become addicts, cynics, parasites, perpetual critics. They define themselves purely by rejection. "I'm not" like them becomes their only identity. That's stagnation, wearing a leather jacket. Integrated black sheep evolve into antiheroes. The antihero is what happens when rejection hardens into direction. He stops running from the system and starts extracting from it. He understands the rules well enough to bend them, break them, or walk through the gaps without apology. He accepts consequence. That's the difference. The antihero knows that freedom without responsibility collapses into chaos, and responsibility without freedom collapses into slavery. So he carries both. This is why antiheroes disturb people more than villains. Villains are predictable. Heroes are comforting. Antiheroes are functional without permission. They expose a truth most people avoid. Many systems survive not because they are right, but because most people are afraid to leave them. The black sheep who refuses integration stays a rebel forever. The anti-hero who integrates becomes something else entirely. This is the pivot point most never reach, because integration requires killing pride. Part 4. The path revealed. Abandoning the fantasy that suffering makes you special, and relinquishing the desire to be recognized for how different you are, allows you to stop performing exile and start wielding it. Only then does the path open. Not toward heroism, not toward villainy, toward sovereignty. That is why the black sheep matters. Not because he is broken, but because he reveals where the system is brittle. Most people are shaped by pressure. Some impose it. The black sheep questions it, and the rare few learn to govern it.